Hi, my name is Nick from Portainer, and in this video, I'm going to show you how you can deploy a Portainer agent on Docker Standalone. So just coming over to our official documentation here, there's just a few key points I want to cover before we go into the actual agent deployment, is that you just want to make sure that between your Portainer Server instance and wherever you're installing the agent, that port 9001 is accessible, okay? And also if you're running Windows, there's two options here. So if you are going to go with WSL, which is the Windows subsystem for Linux, we would recommend you to use WSL2. Otherwise, there's the Windows Container Services. Just make sure that's configured and running. And just lastly, another point that I want to cover is that when you deployed your Portainer server, and if you define an agent secret, you will need to specify that agent secret when deploying your agent. Now, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, you probably didn't specify the agent secret because that's something you actually need to specifically define. Otherwise, if you just went with and followed our normal instructions for deploying Portainer, don't worry about the agent secret part. That's just for the ones that have defined that. And a link to this will be in the description below to this documentation. So if you're wanting to read further into this, check that out below. So what we can do is we can jump to my Portainer instance where we can add our environment. So as you can see, it's pretty fresh. We've only got the one environment, which is the local environment. And what we're going to do is add a new environment. So on the left-hand side here, we're under users, there's environments. So we can click on that, and this will allow us to add an environment. You can also see here that there's groups and tags on the left-hand side here. So groups and tags. So you can group up environments as well, and you can tag them if you wish as well. For the sake of this video, we're not going to worry about groups and tags, but they are there if you want them. So in the top right-hand corner where it says add environment, we're going to click add environment. So we'll click Docker Standalone, and we can scroll down and click start wizard. So let's click start wizard. So we'll just make sure that the standard agent is clicked and ticked. So we can scroll down, and now you can see the two types of deployments that you can do. So you've got Linux and Windows WSL. I'm going to be using the Linux one because I have a Raspberry Pi that's running Linux where I will deploy the agent to. Now, if you're running Windows Container Services, you can run this command here. But for the sake of this video and my deployment, I will be using the Linux and WSL command. And it's pretty straightforward. All we need to do is click copy command, and then we can go to our server and paste this command in, and providing that you have Docker already installed on your server, you'll be able to run this deployment just fine. So what we want to do is I'm going to run this deployment first, and then I will define the name and the environment address, and then we can hit connect, and it should be able to talk to our agent. So let's go ahead and deploy our agent. So let's click copy command, and we'll jump over to our server. So this is the command line of my Raspberry Pi, and all I have to do is I can paste in that command, right? And just hit enter. And that's going to pull down that Portainer agent image, and we just sit back and wait for it to do its thing. Right, that container has been deployed, so now we have a Portainer agent up and running. We can verify this just by running docker ps and hit enter, and we can see our Portainer agent is running just fine. Now, I know that you would have noted on the previous screen, we have to put an IP address in. So I'm just going to quickly grab my IP address. There we go. That's my IP address there. So I can just copy this. I'm going to head back to Portainer, and I can paste this in. So for the name, I'll just call this something like Pi4. That will be just fine. Then under environment address, we paste our IP address in, and then also the port, which was 9001. Easy, right? And then if you're curious, under more settings, this is where we could define the group or the tags if we wanted to use those, like I mentioned before, but I'm not going to worry about any of those for this video. So what I can do is I can just hit connect. And this is going to start making communication to that agent, and you can see there in the top right hand corner and set environment created. So on the left hand side, we can click home. And now we can see our newly added environment. So we can click in here. And we can see we have one container running. And if we click on there, it's our Portainer agent. And now we can use this like we're used to with our Portainer server, where we can add containers, we can deploy stacks if we want, the add templates. We can manage it all via here now. And also under host, we can get the specs of our host that we've just deployed the agent on. So I hoped that helped with understanding on how you can deploy a Portainer agent on Docker Standalone. If you've got any questions, you can ask below in the YouTube comments. Otherwise, we have our Slack and our GitHub discussions, so feel free to pop in there and ask any questions if you have them. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you. Have a good day.